Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to an episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, joining you for yet another great indie book. This time around, the deal is done. There is no Kickstarter, not yet, for you to follow. Just wait till the new year, when then all bets are off. But let's get right to the bottom of this, right at the start. We're talking to writer-creator Jamaal Harley. Jamaal, how's it going?
Going very well. How are you?
I'm very well, and we are talking about your project, Who's Bad, which sounds like a really bad Michael Jackson thing gone wrong, and people are going to start doing moonwalks and crazy stuff like that. Tell me it's not about MJ and Bubbles.
It's not, but the title's definitely inspired by MJ.
of all the Michael Jackson songs to be inspired by, you went with Who's Bad. I mean, this is the video that features Wesley Snipes being all tough. Yeah. Could be worse. You could have picked, you could have picked Ben or Can't Stop Till Enough. No, but no. Rockin' Robin, but no,
The Free Willy song, which I forgot what that one's called.
What you do on your own time is your own business. All right, okay. We ain't talking about no Free Willies. That's a different show altogether. Right, excuse me. So, what's the deal? Who's Bad? What's this all about?
So the main premise is kind of like a what if a henchman for a Lex Luthor style supervillain ended up with a Superman style character's powers. So that's pretty much the pitch. So it's this lowly henchman down on his luck. Mm-hmm. Life's not going too great for him. Then he ends up with these powers and he thinks his life's going to be amazing from here on out. But our slogan here is more powers, more problems. So now his old boss is, trying to steal the powers back. The superheroes, they want revenge, and there's a bunch of different supervillains who also are jealous and want his powers. So his life ends up a little bit more complicated than he thought.
Right. That's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I do like the tagline. With more power comes more problems. Yeah. That is so true. Yeah. No, so funny. Beats the powers responsibility thing that you normally get. So, what was it that kind of inspired you to go down this route? Surely it wasn't just the Michael Jackson and the bad dancing, or good dancing. I have to say this: we went to Mexico a couple of years ago. What year was it? Was it last year? It was last year, probably. And we saw Michael Jackson impersonator, and my wife and I were like, "That! Wow, that's so good!" And I said to my wife, "Oh yeah, it was really good." Next thing I know, she's ordered me the greatest hits of Michael Jackson. It's like of my CD. I'm like, "Sweetheart, I'm only going to listen to Smooth Criminal. That's the only one I'm going to listen to for a while." But which could have also been a tagline for this book, I suppose. But there you go.
Hi.
So, what was your main inspiration? Why a Lex Luthor character? Why superpowers? Kind of what was the main thrust?
Well, I've had this idea for a while, and a couple of inspirations were just like, I'm a big comics fan, Superman, Lex Luthor, X-Men, and all that. Then watching like the Venture Brothers back in the day, like they had like these two henchmen, and that's like kind of the first time I saw something from like a henchman's perspective. And I'm like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And that was like funny and a comedy. So I was like, I kind of want to do something like that. And I was kind of like, well, what if one of these henchmen actually had like their main protagonist powers? How would that, what would that look like? So I just kind of like had that thought and just ran with it. And then, years later, I decided to go back into screenwriting, took some classes, wrote it as a feature, but a lot of people in my class were like, this works better as a TV show. So then I rewrote it as a TV show. Then I was like, well, instead of going around pitching this, is like, maybe I should just make a comic book and have like the visuals and, add more to it, and significantly cheaper to make a comic book than a TV show right now. So That's the route I went.
So there's so much kind of going on with this. Then, what is it about henchmen that make us want them to succeed? I mean, not every henchman is going to be like Harley Quinn, for example, which has to be probably the quintessential break the mold hench person.
Yeah.
Of most recent times, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I guess like I don't know. I always thought of her as more like a higher level. So like in ours, we have kind of like hierarchies. You have goons, you have henchmen, and then you have what we call like hired guns, or like then there's the villains like right hand man. And I always felt like Harley Quinn was like more like a number 2 or a right not like villain sidekick type of thing. And then you got like the other big muscle guys with the hyenas those were like I always felt like those were like the henchmen. So our character is more the muscle guy holding the hyena.
What's the name of the guy? What's the name of the guy in the Batman '89 movie that hangs out with the judge? Bob the Goon. Bob. You love Bob, don't you? He's just going with the flow. He's like, he's like, dude's coming outside the service. That's like, okay, whatever you want, boss. Doesn't work out well for Bob the Goon.
No,
it does not. Dade's the character, right?
Yeah.
So Dade's the goon, the henchman, the muscle, gets these superpowers, and then tries to do good with them, and then that just sets up some sort of crazy conflict across the whole, because you'll have superheroes that don't trust him, you'll have bad guys that want to kill him, and all that sort of stuff. How do you keep all those plates spinning?
Lots of charts and Excel spreadsheets.
I bet you've got a wall with Post-its and tape and lines, like a crime scene thing.
I'm trying not to look like that, but that's why I'm trying to keep it on Excel. But it's probably going to end up that way.
Excel only has a finite number of cells, right?
You can make more sheets.
I suppose. All good and good. I've had a look through issue 2, and there is a kind of Greek theme running through it with some of the bad guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I was impressed is every time people hear Greek, they think of Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
How hard was it to kind of stay away from that kind of Greek archetype, because we're so used to it? I mean, it would be low-hanging fruit, right? If you try and create something new, give people what they already know, so therefore, hey, everyone's into it. But for you, you've gone like a completely different route. So how was it to kind of what sort of path was that to navigate?
I think I just try to keep in mind that the duality of each character and each character's propensity to do great things or great good, and they're also their potential to do great evil, and to explore between that. And I think that helps me get a little bit away from that.
All right, okay, that's a good call. I actually love the element you talked about Prometheus in the second issue, because I think that absolutely proper. It sets the tone for what we're talking about the power and the problems it causes. I'm not going to go into any details on that, so guys, you have to buy the book, or alternatively, Google Prometheus to find what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
What can I say? So, how different is writing comics to kind of screenwriting? You mentioned you're involved in screenwriting. You've took some classes. I hear a lot of people, create comics to move into something, to like generate IP for places like Netflix and Amazon Prime and things like that. Is it a different technique? Is it a different discipline?
It's actually suits me better, because when you do script writing, you're not supposed to give so much detail. That's up to the director. And I really am a very vocal person. And Uh-huh.
You're a takeover Ted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And so like, yeah, I'm a very visual person. I'm a very detailed person. So like, yeah, like comics, I get to like I get to put all that in there, and that's fun. You kind of get to like be a writer slash director, and like then the artist is kind of like the assistant director, and just whole different animal, bringing it to life. So yeah, I it's easier for me to write comics because I don't have to like edit out all that detail or stop myself from writing all that detail.
Well, I often think, and we're having a look at issue 1 here, I often think that writers, especially indie writers, are a little bit editorial to start with. I know you guys have an editor on staff for the books, but I also think it's like, well, especially if you're such a takeover Ted, how nervous do you get, Jamaal, when you send your work over to your artists? Are you kind of like, please be good, please be good, please be good? Are you kind of like, do you have complete trust and faith in the team? Bear in mind they're probably going to watch this at some point, and you're going to want them for issue 3. Just not that I'm putting any pressure to like curb your answer or anything.
Yeah, that's something I worked through. Before I work with the artist, I do like just some test art, and I kind of see how they work. I see how we work, and sometimes there's just some extremely talented artists where I just like, okay, we just have different working styles, and that's okay. So it's probably best we don't work with each other. But once I find that artist where it's like, okay, like, and you give them a page, and then to me, it's better than what I wrote. You're adding in little cool details that I didn't even write. Once I see that, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have fun. This is gonna be great, And usually, once I get that feeling, it hasn't steered me wrong. But if I get a feeling that this isn't gonna work, or if I'm not like 100% like jazzed on the artist, I say like, this doesn't work out. Maybe we can do cover art, or we can keep working together. But if I'm not feeling that spark,
I
just try to part ways, in my opinion.
No, it's cool. No harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Cool. And this isn't to say that artists that you don't work with, or writers that artists don't work with, are particularly, bad or awful at what they do. It's just that comic books are a collaboration, right? So therefore, you've got to find the right team. I know. I've seen artists and writers who I absolutely love on one book, and then they go over and do something else. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Yeah. And you're like, why did you even think of this? So no, I get it. You've got to look at what's best for you, what's best for the artist. They obviously, your team doesn't want to work with a book they're not particularly feeling. And of course, you got to look out for the book itself, because this is your baby, right?
Yeah. There's also that like when the artist is they seem engaged with it, or like the words inspire them to I guess push themselves or do something.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
You don't want an artist who just goes like, enter panel left, done. Exit panel right, fight in the middle. There you go. Jobs are good.
Yeah.
You want somebody who like looks at it and goes, all right, if I change the angle of this and I do that and then I pull back, zoom in. Obviously, you as a writer will have your key little snippets that you want to show visually as hints and tips down the line for what's going on. So that's always going to be interesting. Cool. You mentioned, I mentioned about how comics, a lot of creators are looking to move IP from comic books into Netflix or Prime or whatever it is they want to do. Do you feel, therefore, that, and this is a little bit of a loaded question, so apologies for this one, Jamaal. Do you feel that comic books have kind of run the course as an entertainment piece? Because I keep hearing things like, people aren't going to the movies anymore to watch superhero films, and the Marvels has had the worst opening of a Marvel movie since the Eternals, probably. Do do you feel that the comics have kind of lost their uniqueness in a way that they're being used to promote other mediums such as Netflix?
Yes and no. Like I feel like I was like when Marvel first just started doing like the shows on streaming. I'm like, I was kind of like, this is cool, but if it's like as long as they don't ramp up,
Yeah.
and then they started ramping up, and I'm like, oh, this is like, it's you got to leave the audience wanting more. Like sometimes like the wait and like oh man, I gotta wait that year between
I hear what
Infinity War,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm of a certain age that when Star Wars first came out, that's Star Wars: A New Hope. I just better check that out because some people think that The Force Awakens is the first Star Wars movie. That was it. That was it. Done. That's it. Over. You had to wait 4 years to get The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Or 3 years to get The Empire Strikes Back. Then you had to wait another 2 to 3 years for Return of the Jedi. In between which there was nothing but comic books.
Yeah.
There was no Netflix, and I think this has kind of impacted, I suppose, the profitability of certain things like Marvel movies. Because why do I need to go to the cinema to watch a Marvel movie when I can turn on the TV and watch WandaVision?
Yeah.
Why do I have to go to the movies to watch a Star Wars movie where I can watch Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Right.
Yeah, so it's too immediate.
Yeah. It's too immediate, and even me, I'm a very creature of habit, or like especially like things I like food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will eat stuff till I'm kind of like sick of it, and I think that's kind of what it is. It's just too much. There's no balance, and I think it's like that anticipation, and also I can understand some people feel like it's homework because there's so much to watch before the next movie.
Yeah.
And there may be a series that is not for you, but you're sitting there watching it because you want to.
So I'm going to pick on the Marvels for this one because I Miss Marvel, the TV show, is not aimed at me in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
So I'm not watching it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have friends who were watching it, and I kind of had an idea of what's going on. So we went to see the Marvels last week, my wife and I, and so I did the proper mansplaining thing, because I don't want to get into the movie to hear who's that. So I was like, okay, so Miss Marvel's the kid one, Captain Marvel's the blonde one, Monica's the daughter of the blonde one's friend.
Yeah.
And my wife, I love my wife dearly, and she knows her stuff. So she did what she was. A self-respecting woman would do in that point, and that's thumping me. So, the point of the story is my wife's. We're in the queue getting our tickets up and whatnot. I'm not paying a blind bit of attention to what's going on, but my wife told me afterwards there's a couple discussing what to see, and the guy says, "What about Marvels?" And the lady in the couple goes, "What's it about?" And he goes, "I have no idea. I don't know." So they asked the film usher, and the usher's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen it yet." And I'm like, how have you managed to go and miss every single Marvel movie to not have an idea what's going on? But that's what's happening. It's just too much. I like a good comic book. And the thing I like about a good comic book is there is that anticipation. You read issue whatever number it is, and you're like, "Oh my god, that's a cliffhanger. What's going on? Where's the next issue? What do you mean I've got to wait 30 days? Son of a..."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even binge. If the whole show's on Netflix, I don't binge. I'll wait. I'll watch maybe a couple and then come back to it later. So it's fine. That's cool. Good. It's all good. You mentioned earlier that you've read you read comic books previously. X-Men. What else did you mention?
Oh, X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man.
You still reading?
Huh?
You still reading?
No, I stopped reading the big two probably about 10 years ago. But I keep up. Like I'll like go on Wikipedia or like some couple different websites and just be like, what's going on with this character?
Yeah, cool.
But I still read I still read my old comic books from back like from the 2000s.
Just wait, whoa. This is what happens when people come on the show. They'll say things, yeah, I read my old comics from like 2000. Dude, they're not old comics. None of them. What are you trying to do to me? Oh, man.
Yeah, it was just yesterday, I know.
I didn't get this grey hair for any reason. You know what I'm saying? You might be all cool with your dreads. Look, man, I've got this to put up with. Son of a... Why I order? Okay, so indie comics, I think over the last, 5 years, 10 years maybe, especially with the influx of Kickstarter, have absolutely come on leaps and bounds. Why do you think that is?
I kind of have a theory that, at least for me and people that I know that were older than me, like everybody had like their.
Don't you look at me when you say older than you. I can see what you're doing.
No, we're the same age. And it's like everybody has like their phase, their golden age of DC or their golden age of Marvel. And then there's just anything new just can never top that. And
it's like football games. You love the team you got into when you like football, right?
Yep.
Dan Marino's always going to be the best quarterback in the league. You
Yeah.
guys will probably shout for Tony Romo, probably.
No, Troy Aikman.
You know what? I'll give you Troy. Tony Romo comes on commentary over here. I'm turning that ball game off. I'm like, right? The guy is a moron. So sorry.
No worries.
You were saying?
Yeah. So, like that, and that's for me. Like I have like my period, and like that. This is these stories are great. These stories are iconic, and then new writers come and they change certain about the character, and like that's their interpretation of the character, and that's fine. I don't agree with it. That's fine. It's now somebody else's. This is their golden age. This is what they want. This is what they're buying it. They're enjoying it. They're having fun. Great. I'm not gonna like, yeah, I don't know. I went through my period of like, what are you doing? Now I'm just like, But now, like, those characters, and it's the movie. I like the movies because they're retelling a lot of old stories, arcs that I enjoy, or doing adaptations of story arcs that I enjoy. And then indie comics is like, this is new. These are new characters, new people I can like invest in and look for that golden age as I follow that character or this comic or this writer. And I really enjoy that about that. So that's just like, it's like, okay, like, I still, my Marvel DC, these are my friends, these are my buddies. Yeah. They'll always be there. They're new adventures. I might check here and there, or it's not for me. But this, I can latch that same, I guess, feeling onto these newer characters.
Cool. I suppose it's a sense of freshness, isn't it? The fact is that the big two characters every so often are going to hit the big red button and reset everything, right? Whereas in a indie book, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You could write an indie comic about a dog, and 3 issues in, the dog gets put down. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Trust me, no dogs were harmed in the film of this podcast.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like the weirdness of the just going for it with indie comics with their idea. Like, there's stuff where it's like people taking risks and just having more, I guess, artistic freedom, and nobody can really say like, hey, you can't do that, or hey, that's not going to sell. You're putting it out there, and you're seeing will it sell?
I suppose for a lot of people, and yourself included, Kickstarter is a great way to kind of A, gauge interest from readers, B, build up a following, and C, cut down on wastage, because you'll only produce the number of books that you need to fulfill the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like you have to. I don't mean this in a negative way, so please don't take it this way. It's not like you have to print 125,000 copies of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
to sell 25,000 and then pull for 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot of money, right?
Exactly.
You guys get to make exactly the number of books, plus or minus for when you go to cons, for the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's cost effective, isn't it? It's a great way
very.
to keep your costs and your wastage down. So that's cool. Right, before we get into any more comics, because there's a thing I want to pick up on the second issue. Time for one of our adverts for one of our other shows. I can't help it, right? Because you mentioned all the comics. I've got to say, it's time for this one. Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
The Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the horse aren't old, but the comics are, because they're older than 25 years. Check out the new episode, which features comic books which have real life celebrities in them as guest stars. There you go. There's an interesting topic for you. I'll tell you off screen which comics made it, but there you go. Sorry. Leave that up there. Enough old timers. Let's talk about the first timers. Second issue. I have to say, I thought the tone of the second issue is dramatically different from the tone of the first issue.
Yeah.
Because the first issue is kind of like that reluctance, that, oh my God, my world's falling apart. The second issue, there's a level of comfortability. Yes?
I agree. Yeah. This is the fourth book I wrote, or comic I've written, and that I've put out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, I also wanted to highlight, Toa, who's like the Superman-like character of the story. I wanted to give, I didn't want him just to be like show up and then have his powers taken. I wanted you to like understand who he is, and you'll understand more about him as the series goes, even after his powers are taken. So I just kind of wanted to, make him and Dade more relatable, so that when what happens, it's a deeper impact.
Cool. Is it the same art team across both books? Yes.
No. Different art team. The artist from issue number 1. Oh, spoilers. Lucas Meyer, who penned and inked issue number 1. He's actually at DC now. Working on various Teen Titan books. He's doing big things, so I'm super happy for him. The colorist also, he's working with way bigger names, than I, and I'm happy for them both. So issue 2, new team, Carly and Gracia, amazing artist. Iwan Joko Triano, he's a new colorist. He's a beast. Both of them are extremely talented. I feel super fortunate to have worked with all 4 of these artists. So.
If I had any critical comment to make over the second issue, it's that font on the lettering is way small.
Yeah. Okay.
I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, what's this? I was like, at one point I had my laptop next to me and I realized like I say, I'm an old timer. That was probably, but because it's a wordy book.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bit of a throwback as well, because comic books aren't quite as wordy as they used to be.
Yeah, I'm more like, I really liked like Frank Miller and Alan Moore's. They had stuff to say, so I kind of I'm trying to find a happy medium. That serves the art, doesn't take away from the art, and also serves the story.
Cool. The story, I think, absolutely rocks. I read the second issue in its entirety earlier today, and I was absolutely blown away. The cliffhanger is what an absolute gem of a cliffhanger. I was like, whoa, I am there. I am so there. I had a look through. I did a little bit of research. I know you find that hard to believe. I did. you've originally had done through Kickstarters, the issue 1 and 2, both highly successful, both met their goals. And on the Kickstarter page, I picked up this cover, and I'd just like to talk a little bit about this cover because I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And it's this one.
Oh,
there's something about this cover that I absolutely adore, whether it's the contrast of the red versus the grayscale of everything else going on. I don't know what it is, but that absolutely ticks my boxes for covers. Who's the artist on that?
oh my God.
Bob the artist.
Bob the artist. I
Let me see if I can find out.
remember that one.
By Lucas Mayer and Giuliano Peratelli.
No, that's not. Hold on, where's my phone? Oh, this is my phone.
Is that not it? Oh, hold on, I was using it the other way around.
Well, I'll explain the concept while I'm trying to find the artist so I can get
Yared Yanez?
Huh?
Is it Yared Yanez?
No, he did the back cover for that one. Oh man.
Sorry.
But this is inspired by one of my favorite bands, My Chemical Romance. This is inspired off their album art of their second album.
This Pilates, then, is it?
Huh?
This is My Chemical Romance, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, homage cover by Pilates.
Yeah, Pole Arts, yes.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
I get there in the end. That's cool. I did not realize it was a homage. I just took it as original art, and I think it really rocks. I like it a lot.
I wish. No, like I try to do like one homage cover of stuff that I just like either is inspirational to the story or stuff that I just think fits the theme of the story or the comic. I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Excellent. You have a Kickstarter coming in January, I believe, right?
Yes. So that will be for Who's Bad #3, where we'll resolve that cliffhanger in issue #2. We have a new art team. Iwan's coming back for colors. I forget his last name. Mohammed Sadreen on inks, and yeah, it's this is the issue where Dade gets the powers. This is where the transfer of powers happens. This is where this stuff starts to take off and ramp up very quickly.
Okay. For anyone who's kind of thinking, Kickstarter, really? I just want to throw out some numbers there, just so people understand what we're talking about. People who love this show know I love Kickstarter, so here it goes. For the last Kickstarter, which was for Who's Bad 1 and 2, you asked for $5,000. You got 6,883. That's massive. And you know what's even more impressive? It's after 244 backers. That is a huge amount of backers interested in the book. So that's well done. Absolutely well done. That screams that you've obviously caught a lot of people's attention, and you're there popping out an absolutely gorgeous product, professional product, and that's what I like. The kind of stuff that you think to yourself, you know what, I could see this on like Mad Cave or Source Press or Dark Horse.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stuff like that. So yeah, you're welcome. Let's have a look at your webpage, because you have a webpage as well.
That needs to be redone. But
well, look, everything's a work in progress, Yeah. So if you want to check out the Kickstarter, first thing we need to do is get you some follows. So boom, check out. You can follow Jamaal and Royal Oak Comics on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. It's the same ID all the way. It's at Royal_Oak_Comics. Careful how you do that, because there's a pub in a little town called Staindrop in the northeast of England called the Royal Oak as well. You don't want to follow them.
There's also Royal Oak, Michigan. I get a couple messages every so often. Are you in Royal Oak, Michigan? I'm like, no, sorry.
Right, here we go. Let's have a look at the website then. We'll lose the banner for a second. All right. Boom. At the stage. Here it is. This is your website. Where are we at? So there it is. There's a little symbol. So there you go. There's issue number 1. And so you've got a couple of other books coming out. You've got Conquer the Galaxy or Die Trying and the Ballads of Valkyrie Sinclair. What are those about, may I ask?
Conquer the Galaxy or Die Trying. That's our what if a galactic emperor was dethroned and his mind was uploaded into this cute little robot. So he's going around the galaxy trying to rebuild his empire, but absolutely nobody is taking him seriously.
Do you know, I had this conversation earlier today. Not the exact one. I was trying to explain Pinky in the Brain to somebody.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do today, we're going to try and take over the universe.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that show. It was a great show. Then The Ballad of Valkyrie Sinclair. That is our cyberpunk post-apocalyptic thriller where an ex-assassin is brought back in for one more mission, but the mission goes completely off the rails and she accidentally kills the president. So now she's dealing with the aftermath of that. She's on the run and it's the president's death unveils more mysteries about how the world became post-apocalyptic.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. All the prices have been changed to British pounds because obviously I'm looking from the UK. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. When you do your Kickstarters, Jamaal, do you ensure that you have PDF copies for people if they're interested?
Absolutely. There's always PDFs and there's always physical copies.
I think one of the things at least I find, especially internationally, is there needs to be a digital format somewhere along the line, because I don't mind dropping $5 on a comic book. You know, I'm a comic book fan. I drop $5 every time, but I do mind having to pay $25 to get it shipped over.
Yeah.
So you know, as much as I prefer the hard copy, you know, sometimes digital has to be the way to go.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate all our international backers. Thank you so much. I see how much that costs you, and I'm just like, wow. Thank you.
Buy the PDF. No, honestly, I've shout out to Chris Reader, who has done a pod read with me the last month or so. He sent me a ton of books, including Planetary, one of the graphics, which is like a year thick book. I don't know how much it cost him to send them over. Honestly, this book is gorgeous, you know. Nice. So I think, you know, from an independent point of view, it seems to me that there is more care and attention in the quality of the product than there is coming from the big two who just slap a bat sign on it. Oh, here you go. Batman. Or stick a spider on it. Hey, spider, add whatever you want after that, because there seems to be umpteen different bloody spiders knocking around the place.
Yeah.
I don't know what the issue is. Why can't I just keep Peter Parker? Why can't I just have Bruce Wayne? I don't get it. I mean, you know, Miles is cool, but it took a while for Miles to get cool. But Gwenpool, Gwen Stacy, Spider Gwen, really? Spider Boy, really?
Yeah, that was like all the variations. Like, I don't know. Those were fun when those were just like a what if. It was like, here's the character, here's a what if, here's maybe a mini run, and then they go away. But now they're here, and there's.
My issue is this. My issue is this. If you want me to get involved in the side characters, can we not make the main book entertaining? If you make Amazing Spider-Man entertaining, I may well pick up other Spider books. But if the main book isn't great, then why would I even consider getting something else?
Yeah, that's another thing like that goes along with, I guess, so much content is, you know, not every character needs their own series, or like, you know, like they work great in that world, bouncing off those characters, and once like, okay, we'll do some backstory on them and then that's it. But no, we're gonna do a whole I don't.
Yeah. Hey, I love the Black Canary. I think she's class. But how many times have you had a Black Canary run, then Green Arrow Black Canary, then you had Birds of Prey, then that got cancelled, got Birds of Prey, then you got Birds of Prey, then you got, and it's like, give up. She works best somewhere else, man. Work somewhere else. All right, enough of those. This is your 60 seconds, Jamal. Tell people why they should be heading over to royaloakcomics.com to check out your books and get prepped for the Kickstarter coming in the new year.
Right. Yeah. If you like amazing art, amazing colors, and I think amazing writing and some great stories.
Modest much?
And just some great entertaining stories with, flawed, relatable characters that are they have good, that infinite potential to good, the infinite potential to do evil, whether what side of the good evil spectrum, supervillain or hero they are. They're very nuanced characters, and hopefully there's a character you can see yourself in or can relate to, and hopefully there's a character you hate and despise and like, I can't stand that guy. Just, stories that are going to invoke some emotions in you and entertain you as well. If that's what you enjoy, head on over to Royal Oak Comics. We got 3 different books, Who's Bad, Conquer the Galaxy or Die Trying, and The Ballad of Valkyrie Sinclair. And I'm sure one of those you'll find amazing.
Well, I will say right now, off the top of my head, that I absolutely loved my Who's Bad number 2. I thought that was absolutely great. I thought the storyline, the plot points, the key twists, spot on, and the cliffhanger. I was entertained. And I think you missed a key part of this is you're not getting standard page count on this. I think issue 1 was like something like 48 pages. Issue 2 is 36. Mm-hmm. So you're getting more bang for your book as well. So you what's not to like? What's not to like? It's that simple. It's crazy. If you want to follow Jamal on social media, there again are the TikToks, Instas, and Threads. The website is there. Dead simple. And of course, I'm sure if you follow the socials, you'll find out when the launch page for the Kickstarter is due, which you can notify on launch, so you can get the first crack at all those early bird rewards that I'm sure will be there.
Definitely.
Hint, do some early bird rewards. Sorry. Sorry?
If I can mention, we're actually going to be doing a raffle every day of the Kickstarter. So every day of the Kickstarter, you have the potential to win a sticker, poster, or print.
A raffle, you say?
Yes, sir.
How old school?
Trying new things. Bringing it back.
What was old is new again. Excellent. Yeah. Jamal, you've been an absolute blast, man. The book was great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast talking to you too. Thank you so much.
More than merry. When your Kickstarter gets ready to launch, drop me a line, sir. Have you back on. Have a look at some new stuff. Look at the stretches and see what we can do to help with that. Absolutely. If that's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're just an email away. There you go. Right, guys, that's it. We're done for another show. Thanks to Jamal for spending time. Obviously getting prepped for the new Kickstarter. Obviously super busy, So obviously not watching the Cowboys. Oh, I have to watch out what I say because we've got the Cowboys later this year. Oh my God, that's right. If the Cowboys beat the Dolphins this year, you're not coming back on the show. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm joking. It's fine. It's fine. I work with a Philly fan, so I have to put up with bad calls all the time.
Oh, no.
When did this turn into football? Don't forget to check out the UCPM for all your favorite shows, including, you saw the trailer for it earlier, it's the Old Timers Comic Book Show. And if you do like your up-to-date Marvel, it's a no-price podcast. And for all you DC fans, it's a definitive crusade. Jamal, once again, thank you so much, sir. You've been an absolute blast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it being on the show. Thank you, Johnny.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. Right, that's it. I've been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. And as always, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.